Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Hello, Catholic pilgrims, welcome back. Being able to measure time is extremely important to us, and we've had numerous ways to measure it through the centuries. The measurement of time is what we are reading about today. Please open to Book 11, Chapter 21 on page 269. I said just now that we measure time as it passes. This enables us to say that a given space of time is twice as long as whatever period we take as the unit of measurement, or that the two are of equal duration, and we apply the same principle to any other space of time that we are able to measure. As I said, we measure time while it is passing. If I am asked how I know this, my answer is that I know it because we do measure time. We could not measure a thing which did not exist, and time does not exist when it is past or future. How then do we measure present time when present time has no duration? It must be measured while it is in the process of passing. It cannot be measured after it has passed because nothing then exists to be measured. But while we are measuring it, where is it coming from? What is it passing through, and where is it going? It can only be coming from the future, passing through the present and going into the past. In other words, it is coming out of what does not yet exist, passing through what has no duration, and moving into what no longer exists. But how can we measure time except in relation to some measurable period? We cannot use the terms as long, twice as long, 3 times as long, and so on when we speak of time except in relation to a given period. But to what period do we relate time when we measure it as it is passing? To the future from which it comes? No, because we cannot measure what does not exist. To the present through which it is passing? No, because we cannot measure what has no duration. To the past, then, towards which it is going? No, again, because we cannot measure what no longer exists. Keeping track of time is extremely important to us as humans. Not only is it something that we want to do, it's something that we absolutely have to do in order to survive in this world. If you are on time for work, then you are going to get fired eventually if you keep it up. If you don't know what time your plane leaves, you are going to miss it. There are so many things we would miss if we didn't keep track of time. Now, some of the earliest forms of time measurement were water clocks. That's very interesting. If you ever want to see what those are, I encourage you to look it up online. But people also used sundials, obelisks, those big tall things that you usually see in Egypt. The point of those was often to commemorate some kind of victory for the pharaoh or some kind of religious significance, but they could also be used as a gigantic shadow stick, and that's something that people could use in ancient times to measure the passage of time. Now, the oldest form of time measurement is, and maybe you've guessed this, is looking at celestial bodies. The first mechanical clock was invented sometime around the late 1200s, very early 1300s, and it didn't even have a face or hands. It mostly just had bells that rung out specific times for monasteries and convents, and also for the people in town to know when prayers were meant to be said. The first watch, which was a pocket watch, was invented sometime between the 15 and 1600s. I even have a pocket watch from my great-great-grandpa who got it back in the 1800s. So that's very precious to me. Today, we have our phones. When the iPhone first came out, I kind of stopped wearing a watch because the time is on your phone. But nowadays, I try not to keep my phone with me at all times, but I still like to know what time it is. So now, every day, I wear a watch. And I even feel like I'm not fully clothed until I have a watch on. My husband was telling me the other day that when guys get out of the military and they start getting into the business world, one of the things that kind of is meant to be looked at when you're interviewing and stuff like that is what kind of watch you have. Watches are really big with guys, I guess. And over the years, I have gotten my husband several different kinds of watches that are very meaningful to him. And he's gotten me a lot of watches too. I love the watches that he's gotten me. But anyway, it is so interesting how we are very keyed in on keeping time. It's so important to us. And if you don't know what time it is, it can be very disorienting. But since it is so important to us, it's not crazy that St. Augustine is thinking so much about time. Time is an abstract thing, like what he's talking about here today. You can't measure something that hasn't happened yet. You can't measure it while it's happening in the present because there's no duration. It's just a constant moment, moment, moment. And then in the past, how do you measure it? So time is abstract. You can't smell it. You can't touch it. You can see it moving on a clock, but that's still an abstract thing. And yet we can order this abstract thing through measurements. So it's very interesting. I know St. Augustine seems kind of consumed with time. We're reading a lot about time, but it is important to us as humans because we are continually passing through time. And that is something that is always on our minds. We go from being young to old and to our death. And so time means a lot to us. But that is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you back here tomorrow. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.